Henry Caldwell thought he had planned everything perfectly. 7 days away. No interruptions, no questions, no consequences. What he didn't realize was that by the time he walked out of his house that morning, everything he believed he controlled, his money, his privacy, his version of reality, had already begun slipping out of his hands. He just didn't know it yet. The morning began like any other. Soft light filtered through the wide kitchen windows of their home on the edge of the city. The kind of neighborhood designed to look peaceful from the outside. Trimmed lawns, identical mailboxes, quiet streets that suggested stability. Inside, everything was in place. Too in place. Lauren Caldwell moved through the kitchen with quiet precision. She didn't rush. She didn't hesitate. Every motion felt measured, intentional, like someone following a process she had already repeated in her mind more than once. 5 years of marriage had taught her exactly how to exist in the same space as Henry without disrupting him. Where to stand, when to speak, when not to. At the dining table, Henry barely looked up from his phone. Emails, messages, notifications. His attention moved constantly but never fully landed anywhere. Control in his world meant staying ahead, or at least appearing to. "Hey," he said after a moment, his voice casual. "I'll be heading out a little later than planned." Lauren didn't answer immediately. She finished slicing fruit, arranged it carefully, then set it beside him before taking her seat across the table. "For the trip?" she asked. Her tone was neutral. Too neutral. Henry nodded. "Flight's at 10:40. I'll be gone about a week." He said it easily, like it meant nothing. "The client's pushing deadlines," he continued. "Hotel project. They want me on site the entire time." The explanation came out clean, practiced, frictionless. Lauren listened without interrupting. Her eyes stayed on him just a second longer than necessary. "That's a long time," she said. Henry shrugged. "Big contract." A short pause settled between them. Then Lauren spoke again. "What was her name?" Henry's fingers slowed slightly against the screen of his phone. "Who?" "Your assistant," Lauren said. "The new one." A beat. "Chloe," Henry replied. Not too fast, not too slow, just controlled enough to pass. Lauren nodded, almost as if confirming something already known. "Is she going with you?" The question was soft, but direct. Henry leaned back slightly, letting out a quiet breath. "Yeah, she handles everything. Schedules, contracts. I'd be buried without her." That part was true, just not in the way Lauren was meant to hear it. Lauren's fingers traced the rim of her glass, a small, almost absent movement. "At least you won't be alone," she said. Henry smiled, relaxed, certain. Everything was exactly where it needed to be, in his version of events. "You should take the week too," he added. "I'll transfer extra money, do something nice." Lauren looked at him, really looked at him. "I trust you," she said. The words landed differently this time. Not warm, not reassuring, placed, deliberate, like they served a purpose beyond the moment. Henry didn't notice. Upstairs, the energy shifted. Henry moved faster now, a quiet urgency replacing the calm he had maintained downstairs. He opened his suitcase, checking everything again. 7 days. He could already feel the distance, the relief. No expectations, no questions. No need to explain himself. The house he had arranged sat far outside the city. Gated, private, isolated, no neighbors, no visibility, no interruptions. Perfect. As he zipped the suitcase, "Wait," Lauren's voice. He turned. She stood in the doorway holding a small container. He hadn't heard her approach. "Take these," she said, stepping forward and placing it inside the suitcase before he could respond. "Vitamins. You've been under pressure." Henry exhaled lightly. "I'll survive a week without supplements." Lauren didn't step back. Instead, she moved closer. Close enough that he instinctively paused. Her hands rose to his collar, adjusting it with slow, deliberate precision. There was nothing wrong with it, nothing to fix. And yet, she kept going, smoothing the fabric, aligning it, correcting something that didn't exist. Her fingers lingered, a fraction too long. Then she spoke. "There are a lot of things going around right now," she said quietly. "Strange infections. Things people don't notice until it's too late." Henry gave a short laugh. "I'll be eating at 5-star places, Lauren." But she didn't smile. Her eyes stayed locked on his, unblinking. "Just be careful what you bring back," she said. The sentence was simple, but it didn't feel simple. For a brief second, something unfamiliar moved through Henry's chest. A flicker, a hesitation, like a thought he didn't want to fully process. Then it was gone, replaced by confidence. "I'll be fine." He closed the suitcase. Leaning in, he kissed her forehead, quick, automatic, empty of weight, and stepped past her. Lauren followed him to the front door. She didn't rush, didn't call out. She simply stood there as he walked to the car, placed the suitcase inside, and got behind the wheel. The engine started, the car moved, and she watched. Not waving, not smiling, just watching. Until the car disappeared at the end of the street. The moment it did, her expression changed. Completely. The softness vanished. The stillness sharpened into something precise. Controlled. Lauren reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. Unlocked. Typed. "He's on his way." She didn't send it immediately. Her thumb hovered over the screen for half a second. Not hesitation, but timing. Then, activate everything. Send. Another screen opened. A small interface. Multiple active signals. All green. Lauren looked at it for a moment, checking, confirming. Then she locked the phone. Henry never went near the airport. Instead, his car moved in the opposite direction. Away from the city, into a quieter stretch of land where houses were hidden behind gates, and distance did the rest. By the time he reached the property, whatever brief discomfort he had felt earlier was gone, replaced by anticipation. The gate opened, and there she was, Chloe Woodard, the woman Henry believed was his escape. She stood just beyond the entrance, sunlight catching in her hair, her expression soft, welcoming. But for a fraction of a second, before the smile settled fully, something else flickered there, something sharper. Then it disappeared. "You made it," she said, stepping closer. Henry barely had time to close the door before she wrapped her arms around him. The scent of her perfume filled the air instantly. Different. New. "I thought traffic would slow you down," she added lightly. "For you?" Henry smiled. Not a chance. The house became its own world. Time blurred. Days lost their edges. Everything felt easier there. No responsibilities, no pressure, no need to perform. Chloe moved through the space effortlessly. Always present, always attentive, always just slightly ahead of what Henry wanted. She laughed at the right moments, listened when he talked, remembered details he didn't realize he had mentioned. Once, just once, she referenced something from his work he didn't remember telling her. Henry paused, only for a second, then dismissed it. By the third night, everything felt settled, comfortable, predictable, safe. That's when Chloe shifted. "Hey," she said softly, glancing at her phone. "Mine just died." Henry didn't hesitate. "Use mine." She tilted her head slightly. "Are you sure?" "Yeah," he said. "Password's easy, 0101. Careless, confident, unaware." Chloe smiled. "Go shower," she said. "I'll order something." Henry nodded, already turning away. Moments later, the sound of water filled the house. And the moment it did, Chloe's expression changed. Completely. The softness vanished. Her posture straightened. Her eyes focused. No hesitation, no uncertainty. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen, not toward food apps. She moved through files, images, saved documents, system access. Things most people didn't even think about protecting. A notification appeared, then another. Codes, temporary access, windows opening and closing in seconds. Chloe handled them without pause. Forward, capture, clear, delete. At one point, she stopped, staring at something on the screen, just for a second, then continued. Faster, more precise, more certain. 15 minutes. That's all it took. When the water shut off, everything was already in motion. Chloe returned to the exact position she had been in before. Relaxed, scrolling, waiting. When Henry walked back into the room, nothing looked different. Nothing felt different. Everything was exactly the same. Except now. He was no longer the one in control. Henry Caldwell thought he still had control when he fell asleep that night. He didn't realize that by morning, control would no longer belong to him. During those 7 days, every time his phone left his hand, something invisible had been taken from him. Not money he could count, not something he could immediately notice, but access, entry points, pieces of his life that quietly slipped away while he was distracted by something that felt easier than reality. By the 7th night, he didn't want to leave. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling, the dim light casting soft shadows across the room. One arm rested behind his head, the other loosely around Chloe, who lay beside him, her head against his chest. "I have to go back tomorrow," he said quietly. It sounded like regret. Chloe didn't move immediately. Her fingers traced a slow, absent pattern across his arm. "It's okay," she said softly. 7 days is enough to create something you don't forget." Henry smiled to himself, eyes half closed. "You're right. This was perfect." There was a pause. Chloe shifted slightly, her gaze drifting past him toward the corner of the room. His briefcase. The zipper wasn't fully closed. Inside, the edge of a document was visible. Property records, assets, proof of everything Henry believed made him untouchable. "Enjoy tonight," Chloe said, her voice low, almost calm. "Because things don't stay the same for long." Henry let out a quiet laugh, hearing only what he wanted to hear. Within minutes, his breathing slowed. He fell asleep. Chloe didn't. She stayed still, listening to the rhythm of his breathing, waiting until it settled into something deep and consistent. Only then did she lift her head slowly. Her eyes moved again to the briefcase. Focused. Intent. The next afternoon, Henry's car rolled into the driveway of his house. The light was fading, the sky dull and heavy, as if the day itself had lost energy. On the passenger seat lay carefully chosen items: popcorn, a branded bag, craft beer, every detail selected to support a story. Henry believed details made lies believable. Before stepping out, he checked himself in the rearview mirror. Hair in place, no marks, no visible traces of anything out of line. He sprayed a layer of cologne, covering any lingering scent that didn't belong. Then he smiled. Controlled, natural, practiced. He stepped out, grabbed his suitcase, and walked toward the door. "Honey, I'm home," he called out. The words echoed into the house. Nothing answered. No footsteps, no movement, no sound at all. Henry paused. That wasn't normal. "Lauren?" he called again. Silence. He stepped inside, slower now. Then he saw her. Lauren was sitting in the corner of the living room, perfectly still, her posture straight, her hands resting neatly in her lap. She wasn't surprised. She wasn't emotional. She was waiting. Henry exhaled, forcing a light tone as he approached. "There you are. I thought no one was home." He set the bag on the table. "I got you your favorite popcorn. Airport was..." He leaned in toward her cheek. She turned her head away. Quick, precise. His lips met empty air. Henry froze. For a moment, his mind struggled to catch up. "Lauren?" he said. "What's wrong?" She looked at him directly. "A long trip?" she asked. Her voice was flat. "How long, Henry?" He frowned slightly. "A week. You know that." She tilted her head. "A week," she repeated quietly. Then, just as calmly, "Or about 30 minutes from here?" Everything inside him tightened. Henry forced a laugh. "You've been watching too much TV," he said. "I told you I was in..." "Stop!" The word cut him off completely. Lauren stood up slowly. No anger, no rush, just control. She walked past him toward his suitcase, then nudged it with her foot. It fell onto its side with a dull sound. "I don't need your tickets," she said. "I don't need your story." Her eyes locked onto his. "I know where you were." A cold sensation spread through Henry's body. "Lauren, just listen." He reached for her. She slapped his hand away immediately. "Don't touch me." Her voice dropped lower. "Your hands aren't clean." Henry swallowed. "What are you talking about?" The confidence in his voice was already gone. Lauren stepped closer. "I'm going to ask you one thing," she said. "After that, you can lie as much as you want." The room felt smaller. The silence is heavier. "Do you know who Chloe really is?" Henry blinked. "What? And do you know what she's been hiding?" The question hit harder the second time. What are you talking about? Lauren's lips curved slightly. Are you sure she's healthy? The word lingered. Healthy. Henry felt something shift inside him. What are you saying? He asked, his voice tightening. Lauren held his gaze. Find out, she said quietly. Or wait. A short pause. Sometimes it takes time before anything shows. Henry's mind began to race. Images, memories, fragments of the past week. What does she have? He demanded suddenly. Lauren, what does she have? She didn't answer. She just looked at him. You should be careful what you bring back, she said. The same sentence, now different, now sharp. She stepped away from him. You're not sleeping in our room tonight. And don't use anything that's mine. Then she turned and walked away. The bedroom door closed. Locked. The sound echoed through the house. Henry stood still. His breathing is uneven. His hands trembled slightly as he looked down at them. No, he muttered. That's not possible. But the thought was already there. He grabbed his phone and called Chloe. No connection. He tried again. Nothing. Again. The same automated response. Unavailable. Henry stared at the screen. Why is her phone off? His voice sounded different, smaller. His thoughts began to spiral. Moments replayed in his head. The capsules she took, the cough. She stayed in the bathroom longer than usual. Details he had ignored. Now they felt different. He opened his browser, typed quickly. Symptoms, diseases, names he didn't want to see but couldn't stop reading. Each result made it worse. Each possibility is more real. His chest tightened. His breathing became shallow. The room felt smaller. And somewhere between the first search and the next, something inside him broke. Quietly. Completely. For the first time, Henry Caldwell wasn't thinking about control. He was thinking about what he might have already lost. Henry stared at the screen, unable to pull his eyes away. The words blurred, then sharpened again as his mind forced itself to understand. Early stages show no visible symptoms. Highly contagious. Transmitted through contact. His grip tightened around the phone. For a second, he thought it might slip from his hands. Images from the past week surged through him all at once. What had felt effortless, exciting, perfect, now twisted into something else. Something contaminated, something irreversible. He swallowed hard. Then it started. A sharp itch on his forearm. Henry froze. He scratched it immediately. Too hard. The sensation spread. Up his arm. Across his neck. Down his side. His breathing quickened. It's starting, he whispered. The words escaped before he could stop them. He rushed into the guest bathroom, slamming the light on so hard it almost hurt his eyes. His shirt came off in one frantic motion. He stepped in front of the mirror, scanning himself like he was looking for proof of a crime. Nothing. No marks. No rash. Only angry red lines from his own scratching. But that didn't help. It made it worse. Because now he couldn't tell what was real. He leaned closer, staring at his reflection. She knows, he muttered. His voice sounded unfamiliar. She wouldn't say that without proof. He splashed cold water onto his face again and again, but the panic didn't fade. It settled deeper. When he looked back at the mirror, something had changed. Not his skin. Him? For a moment, he didn't recognize the man staring back. The bedroom door stayed locked. Henry stood in the hallway staring at it, his mind racing through possibilities he didn't want to finish thinking. He wanted to break it open. Force answers out of her. He needed a name. Something he could fight. Something he could fix. But he knew Lauren. Push too hard and she would shut him out completely. And right now, she was the only one who might know. He didn't sleep. Not really. He stayed on the couch, curled in on himself, his phone lighting up the room every few seconds as he checked it again. And again. And again. No calls, no messages, no sign of Chloe. Every time he closed his eyes, her face appeared. Soft, smiling, then shifting, breaking apart into something unrecognizable. Lauren's voice repeated itself inside his head. Do you know who she really is? Do you know what she's been hiding? By morning, Henry felt hollow, drained. But the panic was still there, stronger, sharper, waiting. The first thing he did when he opened his eyes was grab his phone. Nothing. Empty. Silent. Damn it, he muttered. If you disappeared, then you were hiding something. He didn't shower, didn't change. He grabbed his keys and left. Lauren's door stayed closed. He didn't knock. Not yet. The drive felt endless. Every red light stretched time. Every delay made his chest tighten. His fingers tapped against the steering wheel, uneven, erratic. By the time he reached the house, his pulse was racing. The gate was slightly open. That alone made something drop inside him. "She's here," he whispered. It sounded like hope. He parked without thinking and rushed toward the door. "Chloe!" Silence. He knocked. Harder. Nothing. His hand shook as he pulled out the spare key. The lock clicked. The door opened. Henry stepped inside and stopped. Everything was gone. Not messy, not abandoned, erased. No shoes, no bags, no trace of her. The room felt cold, empty in a way that didn't happen naturally. He moved forward, faster now. Bedroom, closet, bathroom, nothing. The bed was perfectly made, the closet empty, the trash gone. Even the smallest signs of life had been removed. Deliberately. "We were here," he said under his breath. "Last night." His knees weakened as he sat on the edge of the bed. She said, "Footsteps." He turned sharply. For a split second, hope hit him again. But it wasn't her. A security guard stood in the doorway. "Sir?" Henry stood up immediately. "Where is she?" The guard hesitated. "The woman who was staying here?" "Where is she?" Henry repeated louder. "She left," the guard said. "Early this morning." Henry's stomach dropped. "Left?" "Around 4, moving truck came. They packed everything fast." "Where did she go?" "I don't know." Henry stepped closer. "You have to know." The guard shook his head. "She said her lease was up, left the key, told me you were aware." Henry went still. "She said I knew?" "Yes, sir." The words settled heavily. "She seemed in a hurry," the guard added, "like she didn't want to be here any longer than necessary." That was enough. His mind didn't analyze it. It decided. She ran. She ran because she knew. Because she had done something. Something she didn't want traced back to her. The itch returned. Stronger. Deeper. Henry dragged his nails across his skin until it burned. "This place," he whispered, looking around in horror. "This place is contaminated." His stomach turned. Everything that had felt good now felt wrong. Filthy. He turned and walked out, then faster. By the time he reached the car, his breathing was uneven, shallow, panicked. He gripped the steering wheel, staring at his hands. "I need a doctor," he whispered. "Now!" The drive back passed in fragments. His thoughts only got worse. More scenarios, more symptoms, more certainty without proof. He stepped inside the house and froze. Lauren stood near the dining table, calm, still, different. Gloves on her hands, a mask covering her face, a spray bottle in her grip. Henry stared at her. "Lauren, what are you doing?" She didn't answer. She watched him, carefully. He took a step forward. A sharp mist hit the air between them. "Don't come closer." Her voice was muffled but firm. Henry stopped. "You can sit there," she said, pointing toward a plastic chair near the entrance. Separate, isolated. "If you need anything, use those." Cheap plates sat beside it, disposable. Henry stared at them, then back at her. "You're serious?" "Completely." "You think I'm contaminated?" Lauren held his gaze. "Worse." The word hit harder than anything else. Henry felt something inside him collapse. "This is insane," he said, but there was no strength in it. Lauren didn't react. She moved to his suitcase. With metal tongs, she lifted his clothes one by one, as if they couldn't be touched. "They need to be treated," she said calmly, "or destroyed." Henry watched, silent, defeated. "Lauren," his voice broke. "I was wrong. No control left, no pride. I messed up." He stepped closer despite the distance she demanded. "Please." His voice dropped to almost nothing. "Just tell me what it is." A pause, then, "What does she have?" Henry's voice broke. "What does she have?" Lauren stepped back again, keeping the distance between them like it mattered more than anything else in the room. Her eyes moved slowly over him. The wrinkled shirt, the pale skin, the shaking hands. "Are you starting to itch?" she asked. The question hit instantly. Henry's hand went to his neck without thinking. "Yeah," he said quickly. "A little. Why? Is that part of it?" Lauren nodded once. "That's how it begins." His breathing stopped for a second. "Begins what?" "The surface reaction," she said calmly. "First itching, then heat under the skin, then irritation that doesn't go away no matter how much you scratch. After that, it moves deeper." Henry stared at her. Deeper? The nervous system. His legs gave out. He dropped to his knees, the impact echoing against the floor as his body began to shake. "What is it called?" he shouted. "Lauren, tell me the name. Tell me so I can fix it. Tell me so I can do something." She didn't answer. She let the silence stretch. Let it press on him. "I don't remember the exact name," she said finally. Henry stared up at her, disbelief twisting his face. "What do you mean you don't remember?" "It was long, clinical, disgusting." He shook his head hard. "Stop doing that, stop speaking like that, and just tell me what she has." Lauren's expression didn't change. "I already told you what to do," she said. "Go to a doctor, ask for everything. Sit there and listen when they explain what you've brought into your body." Henry's hands clenched against the floor. "You're enjoying this," he said, his voice trembling. Lauren didn't deny it. "You made a choice," she said. "Now you get to experience it." She turned away and walked toward the kitchen, setting the disinfectant bottle down with quiet precision. "Don't ask me again," she added. "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it." She disappeared from view. Henry stayed on the floor. The itching spread. Arms, chest, neck. It felt real. Too real. His breathing became uneven. "The hospital," he whispered. He forced himself up, grabbing his keys. "I have to go now." He didn't look back. From the kitchen window, Lauren watched him run. His movements were erratic, unsteady, driven by fear. She waited until the car disappeared, then reached up and removed the mask. A faint smile touched her lips. "Run," she said quietly. Her gaze drifted to the untouched coffee cup on the counter. "You still don't understand what you've already lost." The hospital rose ahead of him in glass and steel, cold, orderly, unmoving. Henry parked without thinking. The car angled badly across the lines. He rushed inside, pushing past people who moved with calm purpose, completely unaware of the storm inside him. At the check-in screen, his fingers shook. He selected everything, every test, every department. He didn't care about cost. He just needed answers. The printed slips crumpled in his hand as he moved to the waiting area. He couldn't sit still. Every cough nearby made him flinch. Every movement felt threatening. When his name was called, he stood too quickly. "What seems to be the problem?" the nurse asked. Henry leaned closer. "I need to be tested for everything," he said quietly. "Everything?" "HIV, hepatitis, syphilis, anything contagious. I had contact with someone who might be sick." "Any symptoms?" "Itching, burning, weakness." She nodded and typed. "The doctor will order tests." Henry sat down again, and then he saw her, Lauren, walking calmly down the corridor, clean, composed, untouched. Their eyes met for a second. She didn't stop, didn't speak, just looked at him, then away, and kept walking. The distance in that moment hit harder than anger ever could. When Henry entered the doctor's office, his hands were still shaking. "Have a seat," the doctor said. "I need full testing," Henry replied immediately. "No shortcuts." "How long was the exposure?" "A week." "Protection?" "No." "Frequency?" Henry hesitated. "Multiple times." The doctor nodded and wrote, "We'll run a full panel, but understand, panic can create symptoms. This isn't panic." The doctor didn't argue. The needle went in. Henry turned his head away, convinced something inside him was already contaminated. "Make sure you check everything," he said. "We will." The wait felt endless. Minutes stretched. His thoughts spiraled. Worst outcomes, images, consequences. He began to pray. Not clearly, just fragments, promises, anything. When he was called back, his entire body felt tight. The doctor held the report, expression unreadable. "Well?" Henry asked. "Before I explain, I need to confirm something." "Just tell me." "Your wife was here earlier." Henry froze. "What?" "She asked that we be thorough." A cold feeling returned. "What did she say?" The doctor slid the report toward him. "She said you should see the truth for yourself." Henry grabbed the paper. His eyes scanned it desperately, looking for one word. Positive? Detected. Nothing. He blinked. Looked again. Still nothing. HIV? Negative. Hepatitis? Negative. Syphilis? Negative. Herpes? Negative. Henry stared. "I'm clean?" "Yes." Relief hit instantly. His shoulders dropped. His breathing released. "I'm fine," he said, almost laughing. "I'm not sick." The panic dissolved, replaced by relief, then confidence. "My wife really went too far." He stopped. The doctor wasn't smiling, not even slightly. "Don't celebrate yet," the doctor said. Henry frowned. "What do you mean?" "I said your body is healthy." He reached into the drawer and pulled out a thick red folder. He placed it on the desk. "But that's not the only diagnosis." Henry stared at it. "What is that?" The folder opened. Inside were documents, bank records, transfers, account logs, property files, screenshots, numbers, dates, details. Henry's heart stuttered, then slammed hard against his chest. He recognized the first account instantly, then another, then more. His face went pale. "What is this?" The doctor looked at him steadily. "The real damage," he said, "isn't in your body." He tapped the file. "It's in your life." Henry's fingers trembled as he reached toward the papers. And for the first time, the fear wasn't about dying. It was about losing everything. Henry's fingers hovered over the red folder. "What is this?" Dr. Pierce didn't answer. He slid it closer. "Open it." Henry swallowed. The relief from the test results drained out of him, replaced by something heavier, slower, colder. He opened it. The first page hit him instantly. Bank statement, his account. Outgoing wire transfer, $50,000. Another, $100,000. Another, $25,000. His eyes froze. No. He leaned closer, scanning the numbers again, as if they might rearrange themselves into something less real. They didn't. He flipped the page. Credit cards. Every limit maxed, every line used. Charges stacked in tight columns, one after another, without hesitation. He flipped again. Brokerage account, liquidated. Positions closed. Funds transferred, gone. Henry's breathing broke. "My balance," he whispered. "Why is it zero?" He turned pages faster now. Transfers, authorizations, confirmations, all real, all approved, all traced back to him. No, no, he muttered. "This isn't possible." The door opened. Henry turned. Lauren walked in, calm, composed, unshaken. She didn't look at the folder. She looked at him. "Thank you, doctor." Dr. Pierce nodded once. "Your husband is in excellent physical condition." Henry grabbed onto that instantly, slamming the folder onto the desk. "You hear that?" he snapped. "I'm fine, I'm clean. Everything you said, none of it was real." Lauren didn't react, not a blink. "Then explain this," Henry said, pushing the folder toward her. "Explain why everything is gone." Lauren picked it up, straightened the pages, set them back down. "Sit down, Henry." "I'm not." "Sit." He sat. His body obeyed before his pride could stop it. Lauren flipped to one of the pages. "You keep asking about a disease," she said. "Yes," he snapped. "What did she have?" Lauren met his eyes. "I never said it affected your body." Silence. "I said you brought something home." Henry frowned. "What are you talking about?" She turned the page toward him. "Look at the name." Henry leaned forward, his eyes locked onto the recipient line. Woodard Holdings, LLC. His throat tightened. "Chloe," Lauren shook her head. "That's not her name." Something dropped inside him. "She worked for me," he said quickly. "I hired her." "No," Lauren said. A pause. "I placed her there." The words sank slowly, then all at once. "You're lying." "For 7 days," Lauren said. You thought you were escaping your life. Her voice was steady, controlled. In reality, you were handing it over. Henry's mind flashed. The phone, the password 0101. The nights, the trust. No. Every time you gave her your phone, Lauren continued, she opened something, copied something, approved something. His breathing became uneven. You gave her everything. She stole from me, Henry said, his voice cracking. Lauren shook her head. No. You handed it to her. The sentence hit harder than anything else. Henry leaned back slightly. It didn't help. Lauren turned another page. A document. Stamped. Notarized. His signature. I never signed that. You did. When? When you weren't paying attention. What is it? Power of attorney. The room tilted. For your commercial property. Henry's chest tightened violently. No, that's not possible. She accessed your briefcase, Lauren said. She took what she needed. She used what you gave her. Henry grabbed his head. She mortgaged it 3 days ago. Silence filled the room. Heavy, crushing. The money is gone, Lauren continued. And that's only the beginning. Henry looked up slowly. What? Lauren flipped another page. Outstanding loan obligations. His brow tightened. What does that mean? It means, Lauren said calmly, you didn't just lose your money. You replaced it with debt. Henry went still. Interest, penalties, enforcement. Each word slower. He's already filed notice. Henry's lips parted. You're lying. Lauren didn't blink. You have 30 days before legal action escalates. Silence. Doctor. Pierce placed a photograph on the desk. Henry looked. A stage. Bright lights. A woman holding an award. Confident. Sharp. Focused. It was her. But not the version he knew. Her name isn't Chloe, Lauren said. Henry's voice barely worked. Who is she? A professional. She's done this before. The air shifted. She specializes in men like you, Lauren continued. Men who think they're in control. Men who believe they've found something rare. Henry didn't move. You weren't special, Lauren said quietly. You were selected. That landed deeper than anything before. She's run this pattern multiple times, Lauren added. Different names, different cities. Same outcome. Henry's chest tightened. You were just the cleanest target she's had in a while. Silence. I gave you a choice, Lauren said. You made it. The room felt smaller. For 7 days, she continued, I waited for her to call me and tell me you walked away. She never did. Henry's shoulders dropped. Everything collapsed inside him. But the money, he whispered. That wasn't theft, Lauren said. She turned to the last page. Look again. Henry forced his eyes to focus. Recipient. Lauren Caldwell. His breath stopped. You didn't lose it, she said. You transferred it. His mind struggled to catch up. A portion went to our child's future, she continued. The rest, compensation. For what? He asked weakly. For what you were ready to destroy. Each word landed clean. The house is in my name. The car was transferred yesterday. Your accounts are empty. Your credit is collapsing. You spent your share. Henry slid out of the chair. His knees hit the floor. Hard. Lauren, please. No control left. No image left. No pride left. I'll fix it. I'll do anything. She looked down at him. No anger, no warmth, just clarity. You're not a mistake, she said. Henry looked up, broken. You're a pattern. He reached toward her. She stepped back immediately. You brought a disease into this marriage. Just not the one you were afraid of. She reached into her bag, pulled out a white envelope, placed it gently on the desk. Divorce papers. Henry stared at it like it might disappear. I filed this morning. His head shook slowly. No. You don't get anything, Lauren said, because legally, you already took it. He broke. Completely. His shoulders shook. His voice collapsed into something hollow. Please. Lauren didn't move. Didn't soften. You're not being thrown away, she said. Viruses aren't thrown away. She turned toward the door. They're contained. She walked out. Didn't stop. Didn't look back. The door closed behind her. Quiet. Final. Henry stayed on the floor. his hands empty, his mind blank, his life gone. Dr. Pierce watched him for a moment, then pressed the intercom. Security. Henry didn't react, didn't move, didn't speak. He had walked into the hospital afraid of something inside his body, something invisible, something that could destroy him. But that was never the real infection. It had started long before the first itch, long before the first lie, long before he ever stepped into that house. It started the moment he believed he could take something without losing anything in return. The moment he chose himself over everything else. And by the time he finally understood, it wasn't his health he had lost. It was his control, his future, his name, his life. And the cruelest part wasn't the loss. It was the truth. No one had taken it from him. He had given it away, willingly, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. If this story made you feel something, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us what you would have done in the main character's place, and subscribe to Sinner Stories so you never miss a new video.